Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Happy Independence Day to all of our American viewers out there, or displaced Americans now living in the area. Josh Ryan, Abby St. John, ready to bring you news, weather, sports, and more. And speaking of sports, you don't necessarily do an American tradition on July 4th, but you do participate in a very American tradition, which is watching the NFL on Sunday.
Yes, I do. I'm counting down the days till it comes, even preseason. I don't care. I just want to see football.
Do you remember how many days off the top of your head till the season begins?
No, not off the top of my head. But it's only like 2 months away because the season starts in September, so it's only a couple more months.
But an eternity for hardcore fans like you.
Yes.
And we'll go out now to Eric Bay. He was on location today at Rolling Greens.
Thanks, guys. Well, today we are here at Rolling Greens Fairways, where the Overcoming Adversity Charity Golf Tournament will be happening here this Saturday. Now we're going to be talking with Amy Schmidt, who has been organizing the entire event, with all the proceeds of it going to the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society, as well as the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association. So we're going to be talking again about her backstory and why she wanted to put this on. But first, we will go back into the studio and have a look at your local news with Abby.
Thanks, Eric. Well, an earthquake has rocked Southern California.
It's certain that this area is going to be shaken a lot today.
The powerful 6.4 magnitude quake was centered more than 200 kilometers north of Los Angeles. It could be felt as far away as Las Vegas. No word on damage or injuries. A black pickup truck crashed into the Go Market at the All Curve gas station early Wednesday morning. The incident left the doorway destroyed, as well as causing damage to the interior wall, ATM machine, and spilling store products around the aisles. Outside of the immediate vacancy of the door, most of the store's contents were left untouched. The owners declined a request for interview at this time. RCMP were also not available for comment. Last week, after a little girl's bike was stolen and posted about on Facebook, Border City residents helped make it possible for her to get a new one, and our Jasmine King has more.
And of course me, I had to cry because I didn't think people around here would do such a thing like that for her.
That is Jenny Skeenum. She is the mother of the little girl whose bike got stolen last week. New to the community, she wasn't expecting for her daughter's bike to be stolen and what happened after she posted about it on Facebook.
There's people raising money to try and buy her a bike. And I started crying because I didn't know that there was people around here to do that for her. I think his name is Clayton. And then he said we were keeping in contact. He was telling me how much they were raising and that Sports Checks too wanted to sponsor a bike too for her and help her out.
Through Facebook is where an assistant manager at Sport Check found out about the situation. And after her bike had been stolen a few years ago where her co-workers helped her get a new one, she wanted to be able to carry that on and help someone else.
I noticed that Clayton was kind of head manning, collecting anybody who was interested in donating, and I just reached out to him and I said, hey, I would love to be able to help get her into the right size, bring her into the store when I'm working, and I would love to be a part of that, basically.
Then after that, Deja came into Sport Check where she fell in love with her new bike. The community worked together to help a little girl enjoy her summer, a summer where her hair can flow through the wind as she rides her new bike.
I was so happy.
And why?
Because they got me a new bike.
Deja also got to pick out a new helmet, gloves, and bike lock. Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Through the use of paintbrushes and cans, youth volunteers are giving the city's back alleys a facelift. As our Tegan Gieselbrecht reports, the participants are trying to have a positive impact on our community.
Youth volunteers gathered in Northern Lloydminster to take part in the Graffiti Cleanup Project, which is in its 4th year. The project is an opportunity to showcase the positive impact youth can have in our community and encourage their involvement in volunteerism.
The youth that participate in this really learn an important lesson about the value of volunteering. They get a lot of positive feedback from the community, and they get some great interactions with different adults in the community. We have folks from public safety, peace officers, RCMP come out and talk to the kids, and they get to really see the results of their work.
The Family and Community Support Services and the Lloydminster Community Youth Center are joining forces to teach the volunteers the importance of hard work and keeping their community clean.
It gives back to the community, and it shows that people can trust the city and the youth center. It's a good place to get kids off the street as well, and it gives them a sense of responsibility and stuff to do.
The participants also learn some hands-on practical skills.
They are learning a little bit about how to paint and how to do so in a safe manner. We have lots of adult supervision and folks sort of mentoring them. So for kids that are wanting to pursue that as a summer job in the future, then they've developed a few skills here today.
I guess life skills. And get to meet new people as well and new friends.
Other graffiti removal dates are Thursday the 18th with a few others next month. Volunteers can sign up by calling Lloydminster Community Youth Center at 306-825-3113. Tegan Gieselbrecht, Primetime Local News.
The sun is out and the Border City Farmers Market is ready to shine with products for the season. More people are turning to local markets for fresh food.
So you can come in a warm building to shop for all your vegetables, your honey, your eggs, health wellness products, home decor, crafts, all sorts of different items.
I would say lots of people are more into organic or kind of farm to fork. So people know where their food are from instead of just from grocery store and they don't know where they're from.
Jean enjoys the market so much that she's been selling Ukrainian cooking for 44 years and is continuing to do so throughout her retirement.
Now that we're in semi-retirement, I like to visit with people, my customers. They've been coming back. It's a repeat customer. So this is what keeps us coming back.
Even in the middle of winter when there's snowstorms and the roads are a little sketchy, there's still a farmer's market.
The market continues to run year-round no matter the weather conditions and is open every Thursday from 12 to 6 and Saturday from 11 to 5. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at Rolling Greens Fairway talking about the Overcoming Adversity event that is going on this weekend. I'm joined now by Amy Schmidt. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about the event you do have going on here this Saturday?
Excellent. I'm throwing an 18-hole golf tournament and a steak dinner here at Rolling Greens RV and Fairways to raise money for the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association and the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society. So we have an 18-hole golf tournament, which is going to be a bit of a scramble. There's going to be delicious dinner, silent auction, and a 50-50 draw.
And now you do also not just the golf tournament, as you mentioned, the steak dinner, but you also have some bands coming to perform. So can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure, of course. I've got two fantastic bands coming up from Regina. We have Room 333 and Tyler Gilbert. They're amazing performers, and they blew my socks off. With two of the singers from Room 333, they each sing in different octaves, and it'll blow your mind.
All right, awesome. And now you did mention you do have some tickets still available, even though 2 days left. So people are definitely going to want to come out, get out and buy some quick. So how can people do that?
Great. Of course, you can go online to eventbrite.ca and you can look up Overcoming Adversity, Surviving Personal Brain Injury, so you can get your tickets online. However, we are also going to have tickets being sold here at the door.
All right, awesome. Thank you for this. We're going to have some more back from here with Amy about the Overcoming Adversity golf tournament they are holding here at Rolling Greens this Saturday, and also a little bit about the backstory and again where that money will be going to on this weekend's event. But first, we are going to go back into the studio.
Looks beautiful out there on Rolling Green Fairways. Certainly more beautiful than we expected today, considering the amount of cloud cover that was predicted. And we're still expecting a fair amount of cloud cover throughout. It's simply been more of a kind of wispy cloud throughout the region, and that has allowed a fair amount of sunlight to still shine through and provide fairly warm, enjoyable summer conditions. 19 currently in the border cities. You can see here, similar to what we've been seeing the last couple of days. Not quite around the records of 30 degrees in 1985, but certainly much better than 6 degrees back in 1990. And the wind also staying consistent at 16 kilometers from the north-northwest. You can see here on satellite and radar, again, we've gotten relatively clear skies compared to what was predicted, but there is a low pressure system making its way east that could rise to the north a little bit and affect our area yet, as there's plenty of more low chance of precipitation coming out on the west side around the mountains in particular. Current temperatures, just to look at quickly here: Jasper 16 degrees, 12 in Red Deer, 20 out in Edmonton, which has stayed relatively warm, 21 in North Battleford as well as in Saskatoon, 19 in Melfort, 20 in Prince Albert, and 18 in Meadow Lake, along with Cold Lake as well. Our 3-day forecast quickly: 19 is the expected high for tomorrow, and again, largely expecting cloud cover there, but we could get some sun to peek through. We could also have a chance of rain coming down as well. It's over 25% the possibility of precipitation there. Low of 9 and then a high of 21 on Saturday, where we are expecting 60+% chance of thunder showers coming down. A couple of millimeters of rain for sure. Then a low of 12, followed by 22 on Sunday, where we were expecting thunder showers there, but the look is looking a little bit better now. 40% chance still of precipitation, but also expected to get some sun, and a low of 13 there, so still a relatively warm evening. There's your 3-day. We'll have your 7-day later on in the show.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Welcome back. Well, for over 100 years, Armstrong's 1908 has provided everything from furniture to grills to Wainwright residents. Eric Bay has more in this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Since 1908, Armstrong's has been run by 5 different generations, and now Margaret and Marty Yurchak are trying to put their mark on the store.
The challenges are just imaging to us, right? So there's been 5 generations, and we're the 5th generation, or Margaret's the 5th generation. So it's now rebranding who we are as Armstrong. So Armstrong's has changed that many times, and now it's time for us to show who we are.
Armstrong's continues to cover a wide array of products, something the store has done since it was founded.
We have lots. So we have furniture, appliances, mattresses, accessories. And then on the other side, there's clothing, sports, barbecues.
We're the true dinosaur department store. We have just about everything you need.
Keeping it simple by providing great customer service is something that is stressed at Armstrong's to remain a top choice of customers with multiple different options available in today's market.
Every business on the planet says service, but we truly mean it, and I think a lot of local businesses mean it, and that's the only way we survive in a market like this, right? So there's plenty of options in the major cities, there's plenty of options on the internet nowadays, so everybody says, oh, it must be challenging to compete against that. And yes and no. It's as long as we're still here with smiling faces and we provide the service we can, I think we can still thrive for the next 40 years.
More on Armstrong's can be found at their website. And that's this week's BioClean Business Bio.
Business Bio, brought to you by BioClean. Call the Bio Team, 1-833-246-8326. The Disaster Specialists.
And now we're going to take a look at your stock market prices for today.
We restore more than just property. We restore hope. When disaster strikes, call the one that can make it right. First General Services, your property restoration experts.
Welcome back. Well, this year's Colonial Days Fair will feature the 3rd installment of the Canadian Heritage Classic, which puts the focus on the bucking bulls. Eric Bay has more on this year's record payout in this week's Ag Report.
The Canadian Heritage Classic has 4 different events for bulls of different ages, focusing on the development of bucking bulls.
Well, these bulls are all athletes. They're just like the guys getting on them. So we start them young. We start them as yearlings. Then they progress into maturing, growing, and then we put a dummy on them with which weighs 15 pounds, and then we go to the rider. So this 2-year-old is this is where he gets to show off what he's got, and then kind of lets people know, like a draft year kind of.
The event will make history, awarding over $130,000 in prize money to the stock contractors, which is the largest payout ever in Canada.
First place here is going to probably pay between $20,000 and $25,000 for a 2-year-old bull. That never been done in Canada. Probably will only get bigger after this year, but it's a start. And these guys, some of these bulls that you see hauling around right now are 8 years old and have never even remotely come close to winning that kind of money.
The money paid to the contractors will help them continue to bring their bulls to events and keep developing Canadian bulls.
These guys put in time, money, effort, haul these bulls all over the place, and we just want to pay them back for what they're doing. And Canadian bulls are starting to be a staple in the world. You see more of them down south, and it's growing. So it's good that these guys can come here, win some big money, and go home happy.
Over 100 bulls will be bucking at the Canadian Heritage Classic, concluding with a classic competition of 3- and 4-year-old bulls and riders on Friday, July 12th. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
This Ag Report is brought to you by the Lloydminster Co-op Agro Center. Depend on them for product, tools, and expert advice. Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agro Center with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
That's all for Ag. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your egg prices.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Center Auto Body.
Well, we are now just 2 days away from Game 1 of the 2019 playoffs for the Lloydminster Extreme. The team prepares to take on the Sherwood Park Titans, with this year's roster looking a little different. One key player graduating last year was starting goaltender Kyle Boyer, meaning this year the Extreme will head into the postseason with a new face manning the crease. Our Josh Park reports.
As it happens every year for the Extreme, a group of players reach their age limit and can no longer play. Last year, the team saw 8 players graduate from the program, including starting goaltender Kyle Boyer, which meant it was time for a new body to take reins of the crease. Cue Darius Petrie. But this isn't Petrie's first crack at the crease with the Extreme. The 18-year-old has spent the last 2 years as the backup, getting in some games, but with the graduation of Boyer, is now getting his chance. A familiar face in a new place.
He spent a lot of time under Kyle, and now that it's his turn to shine, I think he's really taken that and ran with it. So he's somebody that's constantly wanting to improve, and he's somebody that wants to put in that effort and demands an effort from the guys in front of him.
It's been hard trying to overcome just being as big as the net, and following in Kyle's footsteps really put a big milestone, I guess, on for me.
Having already been with the program for 2 years, Petrie has spent valuable time as a backup, learning the league, learning the team, and perfecting his game. From backup, now to starter.
Yeah, it is a rewarding process. It's a hard process, lots of practicing and just getting game ready and trying to be good as I can to support the boys.
Skills there. He's got good angles. He knows what he's doing in there. A lot of times, he's firing up the guys. He definitely communicates well with the guys, and tells them what they need to be doing, what he needs help on. He's come to practice. He's worked hard every practice he's been out here.
Just as much the starting goaltender, Petrie plays an energy role. Whether a game or practice, he likes to keep it light.
Yeah, I'm kind of a goofy guy, I guess, so get the boys pumped up, scream a little bit, and so.
Petrie will get his first taste of Junior B playoffs as a starter this weekend when the Extreme take on the Sherwood Park Titans. Face-off for Game 1 is set for Saturday night, with Game 2 and a potential Game 3 on Sunday. Josh Park, Primetime Local Sports.
The regular season schedule wraps up tonight for both the Border City Blue Jays and the Lloydminster Twins. The two hometown squads will face off for the first time this season to complete their campaigns. The Jays have already solidified the #1 seed in the upcoming playoffs. However, the Twins still have something riding on tonight's game. With a win, the Twins would lock up the 4th seed and have home field advantage in their playoff series with Macklin. With a loss, they would finish in the 5th spot and home field would go to the Lakers. First pitch tonight between the Jays and Twins is set for 6:30 at Legion Ballpark. Now we're going to Eric Bay, who is on location today.
Once again, we are back here at Rolling Greens Fairways talking about the Overcoming Adversity Golf Tournament and Steak Dinner that is happening here this Saturday. And Amy Schmidt joins me now. Now, you are the one organizing the event, but this also comes from a little bit of your backstory as well, which is why you wanted to put this on. So can you share a little bit about that with us?
Sure, of course. This Saturday on July 6th is going to be the 15-year anniversary of my survival of a fatal car accident. I was in a head-on collision on Highway 14 on July 6, 2004, and I want to celebrate being alive. 15 years is huge. I've overcome a whole bunch of adversity that they said I would never do. I wouldn't be able to communicate, I wouldn't be able to walk, and here I am talking to you right now today.
No, that's definitely amazing to hear, and thank you for sharing that with us. And now this money you did mention is going to LABIS and also the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association. So can you talk a little bit about why you chose those two societies?
Of course. After my accident, I was initially at the University of Alberta Hospital, and then I was transferred over to the Saskatoon City Hospital. With the help and support of the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association, I'm here talking to you today. They offered countless support, and they help all families and individuals being affected across the entire province. Over time, I did relocate to Lloydminster. I reconnected with LABIS, the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society. They offer support, and they're there for whatever we need.
And now, as we did mention, that the money raised from this is going to those two societies. So where does the money come from? Is that from the ticket sales? I know there's also a silent auction stuff, or how can people get involved and help out with that?
I'm gratefully accepting any donations that people would like to make to either Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association or the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society. People can donate online, or they can come in and they can offer either cash or check donation. As well, all of the ticket sales, 100%, are going to those two organizations, as well as the silent auction and the 50-50. All the money, 100%, all proceeds going to them.
All right, thank you for this. We're going to be having a little bit more from back here about this great cause, but first we are going to go back into the studio.
Hoping this weather holds out for this evening, as plenty of people are at Bud Miller Park to enjoy both the tennis courts and the beach volleyball courts. Again, satellite and radar showing relatively clear skies with patches of clouds and a low pressure system that's made its way south and east of here. Now, if you look at the next slide here, our temperatures dropping a little slower than yesterday. It's going to be a relatively warm evening. We should only briefly dip into single digits before we get back into doubles, and by early tomorrow afternoon we'll be right back up into the high teens, expecting a high of 19 at the moment. You can see here current temperatures: 17 in Marwayne, 19 in St. Paul, 18 in Bonnyville and in Lac La Biche, and that goes the same for Vegreville and in Edmonton. Relatively consistent again across this board. Over on the south side, Meadow Lake, Green Lake, 17 degrees, 18 in St. Walburg, 19 in Maidstone, and 21 in North Battleford there. Looking at your next couple of hours for North Battleford, expecting a low of 9 overnight. They're getting a little bit of moisture at the moment, but that should clear up again over the next evening. 20 is the high for tomorrow, with wind coming out of the east-northeast. In Cold Lake, it's 18 degrees. They're also expecting a low of 9 overnight. They'll get 1 degree warmer tomorrow as they expect more cloud cover, possibly some sun still as well, with east-southeast winds there. Here in Lloydminster, again, 19 degrees, jump down to 9, back up to 19 as the wind comes from the east-northeast there. And again, we're expecting cloud cover, but we've gotten a fair amount of sunlight. We may get it again tomorrow. Fingers crossed for that. Then 21 on Saturday with a low of 12, still expecting those slender showers to come down. Less chance of that happening Sunday now, which is good news for those who want to enjoy Sunday afternoon. A little bit of sunlight expected there, but still again a chance of precipitation. 64% chance on Monday, though the sun will also peek out there. Then 25% on Tuesday is the chance, along with a high of 18. 25 on Wednesday, despite the amount of rainfall expected there, and then 21 on Thursday to finish off your 7-day forecast.
Now we're going to Eric Bay, who was on location today.
Once again, we are back here at Rolling Greens Fairways talking about the Overcoming Adversity Golf Tournament and Steak Supper that is going on here this Saturday. And Amy Schmidt joins me once again. And now this is your first event that you're holding here, but you are hoping to make it an annual event. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course, I'm hoping to make this the first annual event, as it's very important to raise as much money for not just the individuals who are experiencing a personal brain injury or traumatic brain injury, but also the families there. Everyone needs support whenever there's an injury of this case. So we're having the golf tournament. The registration for golfing is at 9 o'clock here at Rolling Green Fairways. Tee-off time is at 10. You can come in for cocktails and then start enjoying entertainment around 4 o'clock, and dinner's at 6 o'clock. We have a silent auction available. We have amazing companies around town that have offered their goods and their services as items that people can bid on, as well as a 50-50 draw. We have volunteers coming from the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association as well as the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society that are going to be here helping us get the ball rolling.
And now you did talk a little bit off camera, but you do have a goal for the money you do want to raise for both the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society and the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association. So can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Well, 100% of all the profits of the ticket sales as well as the drink tickets and 50-50 and silent auction is all going to both of those organizations. So I'm hoping to raise between 7 and 10 grand on Saturday.
No, that would be great for sure. Definitely going to a great cause. And now, once again, for the people out there, how can they either sign up for this or come out and donate as well to a couple great causes?
Fantastic question. You can reserve your ticket online when you go to eventbrite.com and look up Overcoming Adversity, Surviving Personal Brain Injury. So you can buy your ticket for either golfing or coming in for the dinner, as well as you can come in at the door to buy your ticket if you want to tee off right away first thing in the morning. On our Facebook event page, when you're on social media, you can look up Overcoming Adversity, Surviving Personal Brain Injury, and there is a link for the Saskatchewan Brain Injury Association as well as the Lloydminster and Area Brain Injury Society that I want to invite you all to donate to.
All right, thank you once again for doing this. We are going to have some more from back here, but first we are going to go back into the studio.
And your question of the day, I'm not sure what the responses were going to be when we started it. Just what do you do any American traditions on 4th of July in honor of Independence Day in the United States? And largely I'm seeing no, nope, no was the pretty common answer. One person did say that they have the USA flag hanging in with the Canadian flag. That was Lena Gray who commented there. So some people. Do you have any kind of specifically American things you'll do on that day?
No.
So another no.
Yeah, no. I just never felt, because it was a different country's day. And if I was in the States, yeah, it would be different, like visiting or vacation.
Right.
That would be a lot different. But since I'm not, no, it's not really a priority.
Now, if you were in the States, is there anything you would want to participate in particular, like go see fireworks or what have you?
It'd be cool to see, the different things that they do. Maybe some things that may be different from what we do on Canada Day. And stuff like that. So yeah, I'd probably go see like parades or fireworks and stuff like that just to see how they differ.
They do have some very elaborate parades in a number of states. And not necessarily elaborate, but certainly cute is what you're about to see next for our Pet of the Day competition. That's Snap.
Aw, adorable.
It's Jade's little Snap.
It reminds me of my cousin's old dog.
Oh. Callie from Shayla's our next submission. Do you have a cousin with a cat like that?
Honestly, yeah, sort of. Same cousin.
Oh, nice. She's got a few pets on her.
Yeah.
Next up here, we have Chum.
Aw, adorable.
Courtesy of Shay. So Chum looks like Chum's trying to get some food.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then Buford.
Oh, beautiful mane of hair.
Now that is a aptly named cat, Buford.
Yes.
I think that really fits. And finally, Jeannie and Copper, submitted by
Adorable.
Crystal, who look like they're ready for some adventure. And if you're ready to win a free gift card from PetPad, just remember you have to submit the pet and the picture of the pet and the name.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the PetPad.
Today I'm joined here with Karoy Wachira, and he is a author. He wrote a book called Tattoos Speak, and he is from Kenya. And today we're going to be talking about his background and why photography and writing this book was so inspiring and important. So thank you for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
So can we start out just a little bit of background on you, your life in Kenya, and why you decided to do photography and express art through that way?
I don't know what to say about my background in Kenya. I grew up in a family of four siblings, so 2 boys, 2 girls. And it was a pretty normal family, a family like any other middle-class family. Photography, I've always been an artist as far as I can remember. I have practiced art in very different forms. I've drawn, I've painted, I have done poetry, and I remember I was always interested in pictures. I read pictures better than I read words. I never read books. I didn't like reading books that were chapter books. It was also always picture books. I enjoyed looking at pictures. And I don't know why it started, but one day, maybe about 10 years ago, I thought, I really want to try my hand on photography.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's really, he's a genius. He's an artist and a scientist. Mm-hmm. And he had a camera, and he told me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you my camera and send you out. Luckily, I lived in Nairobi, and so my love for nature drove me to shooting nature. And I took his camera and went to the Nairobi National Park and took pictures and brought them back to him. And the deal was he's going to look at the pictures and he's going to let me know whether I'm going to waste my time or it's something I should pursue. And he looked at the pictures and he told me, dude, there's so much you don't know about photography, but you definitely have the eye.
Yeah.
I think this is something you should pursue. To some extent, I owe my pursuit of photography to him.
Oh, that's really incredible. And I was looking at some of your pictures on your website, and they are, spectacular. They are absolutely gorgeous. And so coming to Canada, how was that, or why did you choose to come to Lloydminster and, create a home here?
That's an interesting story. I met a girl in Kenya. Turned out she was Canadian. And we dated for a while and got married and lived in Kenya for a while. At some point, she decided to try it out in Canada. What we were going to do was compare our life in Canada and our life in Kenya and decide where to stay. We still haven't made a decision. But anyway, so she applied for a job and she found a job in Lloydminster, a place I'd never heard about before. Yeah. But I love new experiences, and so I thought, why not? And so she moved here, and a year later I followed. And I remember moving here, and it was in the winter. And what was funny is that winter was brutal.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Wow.
Because it was a different experience from what I was used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. I've never really heard anyone say that they loved winter, but no, that's, obviously being from Africa, it's probably always pretty warm, and coming here and experiencing a true Canadian winter is definitely something you can't experience anywhere else.
Yeah, I was glad it was that brutal because I'd always wanted to experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been the worst since I've been here.
Yeah.
But I was really glad that I got to experience that winter at such extreme winter.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And just quickly talking about your book, Tattoos Speak, why did you choose to create a book around people's stories on their tattoos?
Yeah, I have always wanted, I have a dream to be part of the change in the world, to bring people together, to encourage people to see others as not necessarily equals, but be able to respect other people and their choices. In a sense, to make this world a better place. Yeah. Totally inspired by Michael Jackson. Yeah, and I cannot explain how this idea came to me, but I usually have ideas that, unfortunately, most of the time I don't pursue. And I feel like all ideas, to pursue them, ideas I get, I will need funding, right? And what happened was, with this one, I met a couple ladies who I was shooting, I was taking pictures of, and they told me, you know, you can get funding for your work, right, if you had a project. And that evening, I had this idea, and I cannot explain how, but I understand how this idea is close to me. And what I did was I applied for it. I applied for funding for this idea. I didn't get the funding. But by the time I got the letter telling me I'm not getting the funding, I had gone so much into it in my mind that I thought, I will do it slow, and eventually it'll become something. I'll get out of it. I'll produce it. And Tattoo Speak for me is just a way of how we see each other. It is not just about tattoos. I chose tattoos because I feel like, to some level, it's a controversial topic. But the idea behind it is was to shoot tattoos and tell the stories behind them, and not just what a tattoo means, but what the tattoo means to the person wearing it. And that is giving us a better look at the human wearing it. And with so many stories, what I'm hoping it will achieve is when someone goes through the book, apart from just the beauty of the tattoos, to read the stories, then you start realizing these are stories you as a person, whether you have tattoos or not, can relate to. Then you start seeing them as other human beings, not just as those guys in tattoos, right? And if you can get there, if I can get a few people to start seeing it that way, then it's not just about tattoos, because now you're challenged to see what else have I been very controversial about, yet it's something that I can relate to.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. That's an incredible story, and you know, it really speaks volumes to people, especially with tattoos, being able to share why they got a certain tattoo and what it really means to them, instead of people just looking at them like, oh, they put ink on their bodies and stuff like that. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Summer holidays are officially here, and there's a number of different programs that you can take part in to keep the kids busy, including here at the Lloydminster Public Library, where they've got their summer reading club underway that the kids are really going to enjoy. And another option for you is the Lloydminster Native Friendship Center, as they're hosting summer camps. It's an opportunity for kids to make different crafts, go on beach and community trips, and so much more. You do need to register for these summer camps, though, so get in touch with Haley, 306-825-6558. Coming up on Wednesday is the start of the Colonial Day Fairs, and it kicks off with a huge parade that's going to start at 10 a.m. here in downtown Lloydminster. And they've changed the route a little bit this year, so the parade's going to go right down 50th Street, right in front of the Real Country 95.9 studio. So the parade starts at 10 a.m., but get down there early to claim your spot. And then after the parade, head out to the Lloyd X grounds. You can see the different livestock shows. They're going to have the Midway. They've got Monsters and Mayhem monster trucks coming up on Wednesday night. Plus, taking to the stage that evening, it's going to be Stephen Page and his band. If you want to get more details, you can go online, LloydEXH.com. Car! Well, you probably don't have to worry about that too much for the upcoming 3-on-3 charity hockey tournament. It is a fundraiser for the Snowflake House Respite Foundation, and it's taking place at Lloydminster Hyundai in their parking lot. It's coming up July 20th and 21st, so still time for you to get registered. Just email ryank@lagauto.ca. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Kleikis, and that's what's happening.
The Calgary Stampede is this weekend, and joining us to chat about the CPCA season thus far heading into said Stampede is radio co-host Wendy Phipps. Wendy, thank you for joining us. We had a really exciting finish to last year's season, and so far this year, the evenness of each driver hasn't disappointed.
No, it's been a really good first half of the season. We've seen some drivers that were a little lower in the standings last year. They're making some big runs, so that just makes the whole association stronger, and it's just nice to see everyone getting a little piece of the pie. And we've got a few new guys sitting on top, and the standings for the top few guys is very, very tight as of right now.
What's been the biggest surprise so far? I mean, you obviously have seen a couple of the younger drivers like Lane Tournier, Danny Ringette have a couple of strong showings, but what's the one that stood out to you the most that you didn't expect? Not that they weren't capable, you didn't expect them to make the jump quite this fast.
Yeah, so DJ King is having a really good year. He's in the top 10 right now, and he's making some big runs weekend after weekend. So that's good to see. Also, Barry Hodson, he's always been one of our strong drivers with Calgary Stampede, but I think he's sitting 4th or 5th in the standings right now. So that's really good to see. He picked up a few horses last year after the Calgary Stampede finished up with a few drivers that were retiring, and yeah, he's got the right connection going right now. So I look for him to be strong for the rest of the year.
And another driver who's been very strong as far as Brad McMahon, a guy that he's been around the circuit for a while. It's not exactly a new driver, but has never really been able to crack the top 4 or 5 for any length of time during the season, and has now won Day Money multiple times this season. What's been the big secret with Brad? Is it just the experience, or he has a really good crop of horses this year?
I think experience, and he's maybe got some new horses that he's worked into the mix, and a few of his old ones that are sound, healthy, and really going. I would also say Brad's training program. I think it's always been strong, but as everyone does, they tweak it a little bit here and there, and I think that's been a bit of a game changer for him. And he's got a couple outfits that are running really, really good right now, and yeah, he's a man that's definitely got a shot at taking the title.
And he's, of course, just right there with Todd Baptiste in the standings. Todd Baptiste just a snake ahead of him. Ray Mitsui, as we mentioned before, is running for the last time, or driving, I should say, for the last time. How cool is it to see him in the top 4 right now and have a shot to maybe make the dash once again?
Yeah, for sure. We talked to Ray at the beginning of the year, and he said, depending on how the season went, he was going to kind of decide what do you do after Calgary, if you would finish out the year or not. I feel pretty confident in making the statement saying that the CPCA fans will see him for the last half of the year. Ray's such a competitor, and having this first half of the season that he has, and definitely has got a very good shot at going for the title. I don't think he's going to back away from that and just let them guys walk in there. So yeah, no, it's pretty cool to see a guy that's 65, and technically he's going to have to retire, but so strong still. Just one Wainwright, picking up Day Money still, and I think he was 5 points or something behind his son for 4th spot right now.
And that, of course, is another storyline coming up with Dale and Ray possibly facing off. Of course, first they have the Stampede, which, as we'll find out, goes on later this weekend. We'll have more in the next hour.